All right, we're back with the one and only. It's Perianne Boring from the Chamber of Digital Commerce. Perianne, how you doing today?
Hey, Bradley, it's great to be here.
It is great to have you here. Listen, we're going to start off. We're going to cover a few things today, but the first thing I want to cover is Elizabeth Warren has created a bill. Well, I wouldn't say she necessarily created it. You actually exposed who did create it. Fill us in, Perianne.
Yeah, so Elizabeth Warren has introduced the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act. This is a bill that she is purporting would close the gaps, the regulatory gaps for cryptocurrency. This bill was actually introduced in the previous Congress. It didn't go anywhere. It died. We didn't want to give it the light of day. We didn't really talk about it because we didn't want to give it any more attention. So it died in the previous Congress. It has resurrected. This year, she has really doubled down on her crusade of crypto. She recruited Senator Roger Marshall, a Republican from Kentucky, to be the bipartisan sponsor. So they reintroduced the bill. It now is bipartisan. So once a bill is bipartisan, it's going to get a little bit more attention and be taken a little bit more seriously. And they've recruited 17 other senators. So there's 19 senators in total that are a sponsor of this bill. So what does the bill do? You can read the text on congress.gov if you would like. I'll summarize what's the most important part of it. It says that any Bitcoin miner, any type of node validator, as well as a self-hosted wallet would be redefined in federal statute to be considered a financial institution and therefore subjected to the same type of reporting requirements that banks are subjected to. This would not work. Obviously, if you are self-custodying crypto, you have no way to report financial information to the government. It doesn't work. Bitcoin miners or a node validator, they are not able to know the identity of attached to every transaction that's being validated in the network. That's the whole point of how, having a decentralized, a peer-to-peer system works. Bitcoin miners, their customer is not the user. So it would be impossible for a person like me or you, just an individual that wants to use crypto. It would be impossible for us to do this, to implement it. It would be impossible for for these crypto businesses like a miner or a node validator to implement this. That's why it's effectively a ban. It can't technically be achieved. So it has been purported as a light touch proposal to close the regulatory gap. So Elizabeth Warren has lied and misled not only the American people, but almost 20% of the US Congress. She has made them believe that crypto has an AML problem. That's a lie. Crypto does not have an AML problem, but she's been able to mislead them in that. And then she misled them to sign on to this bill to address the AML problem, but it actually bans cryptocurrency. So we have been very concerned about this bill for a long time. A member of my staff attended a private event. He has a security clearance. He gets invited to things that I don't get invited to. Senator Roger Marshall happened to be at this private event, invite-only event, and they recorded the event. And he's there and he sees Roger Marshall talking about this bill that would ban cryptocurrency. And you've got to watch the video. We released the clip. We got permission to take what he was saying about the bill and sharing that publicly. And we really appreciate, the congressman who put that event on for allowing us to bring that conversation into the public domain. But the sponsor of the bill says that it's a light touch approach. He said the American Bankers Association wrote the bill. And then you've got to watch it. I mean, it's really damning. He doesn't even know the name of the bill. He has to pick up his notes. He's looking at a sheet of paper. He stumbles through the name of it. And then he closes off his talk by saying, well, and that's about all I know about crypto. It's really bad. I mean, his staff has got to be kind of shaking their heads like, why would, you're not supposed to say that out loud. That's, he says the quiet part out loud. So we're really glad that that information is now available for the public to see and to understand and expose, the lies and the corruption that Senator Elizabeth Warren has been perpetuating about our industry.
It is a horrible bill, right? And you touched on this as well about the self custody portion of this. So this is not just banning the mining and stuff. This sweeps across the idea of self custody. It gets between the mining and validating and self custody. You're gutting the whole idea of really what crypto is about in large part, correct?
Yeah, and it's really sad because Elizabeth Warren, her entire political career, which spans decades, she's really ran on this platform of being the advocate for the consumer. And she's really gone after the big banks previously in her career. And you would think that she would see this technology of a peer-to-peer money system to be the ultimate tool for consumer privacy, security, and choice and freedom. And it is, and that's exactly what it is. And she's really sold out on all of her campaign promises to the retail investor. And that's who really are her biggest supporters, or who were her biggest supporters, who elected her into federal office. And she's now protecting a legacy industry. She had all the CEOs of the big banks come and testify in front of her committee just a couple of weeks ago. You all may have seen that hearing as well. And Elizabeth Warren talked about her bill and asked all the banks, their position on the bill, and all the banks said that they support this bill. And then Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, went so far as to say that he believes Bitcoin is evil and that if he was in charge, he would, quote, shut it down. So I think it's also really important for people just to understand what blockchain technology, how that will impact banks. Today, we spend over $2 trillion every year in transaction fees. This is a big business for the banks. There's other companies like remittance companies that charge transaction fees. But JP Morgan is a correspondent bank, and charging transaction fees, these are the fees we all pay to move our money around. That is a big part of their business. And when you have an open source technology like cryptocurrencies, where you can move money in a peer-to-peer way, where you don't have to pay those transaction fees anymore, it's going to change the nature of that business. I don't necessarily think it's going to completely obviate banks. I do believe there'll be a role for the banks in the future. It's not like we're blowing up, the banking industry. That's not at all what this is about. But financial infrastructure is changing because we have new and better technology. And so I think it's just important for people to understand that dynamic, that what we're really seeing play out here, and at the end of the day, this is all political theater. We're seeing the banks that want to protect their business. And if you're the CEO of a bank, I guess that's your job, and that's kind of who your duty is to. So that behavior is predictable. But where we have a problem is where you have a member of the US Senate who's taken an oath of office and who is not upholding that, and is misleading and lying to the US Congress as well as the American people. That crosses a whole nother line, and we've got to hold our elected officials accountable. And that's why we put forward a pledge. We're asking everyone to sign our pledge to oppose this bill, and also to bring to the light of day the real story, which is that crypto does not have an AML problem. It's actually a better tool for law enforcement than it is for criminals. And it's important that consumers have choice, and government shouldn't be picking the winners and losers.
It's such a great point. And, there's such a contrast between the Senate and the House, right? It just seems like there's more advocacy to get proper legislation to allow the United States to remain a leader in this fourth industrial revolution, as opposed to what's happening with Senator Warren's approach in the Senate. Could you speak to that for a second?
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of just like behind the scenes, play by play, and part of our like political strategy and advocacy strategy behind exactly what we're doing here. So this bill, the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act, it's not going to become law this Congress. In order for it to become law, it has to pass the House. We have successfully implemented a blockade in the House. We are 100% confident it will not pass the House because the people that control the House are advocates of the cryptocurrency industry, and they have told us that they will not allow this bill to move forward in the House. I mean, I guess they could break their word technically, but we don't believe that that's a likely outcome at all. So we're confident in this Congress, this bill's not going anywhere. However, there's an election next year. The Congress will change. We can all kind of predict what direction it's going to go next year, but we don't necessarily know. And we don't know where it's going to be in 2026 or 2028. That the Congress changes every 2 years. So, what if the system is set up to where a legislative pathway would be possible for a bill like this? Our goal is to make sure this bill not only dies in this Congress, but it never sees the light of day again. And the way we do that is not by convincing Elizabeth Warren to change her position. She's not going to change her position. There's no amount of education or information you could provide her or her staff, because this isn't about the substance. This is about political theater, and that's where she stands. What we need to do as a community is make sure those 17 other senators that were misled by Elizabeth Warren into thinking this was a light touch approach to address the gaps in the AML regime, make sure it is as uncomfortable as absolutely possible for those 17 members so they regret signing on, and that they don't want to do business with this fraud of Elizabeth Warren ever again. And the way we do that is we make our voices heard, we contact those offices, and we don't need to be hostile, we don't need to be rude, but we do need to make sure that they understand that they are on the wrong side of the people. They're on the wrong side of the 40,000 Americans that have choose to use crypto in the United States, and that this bill, it would ban the technology. We've met with every single one of those offices. Our team has at the chamber. A lot of those offices, we believe, were truly misled by Elizabeth Warren and her cronies behind this. I don't think most of those offices truly understand if this was implemented at a technical level, how that's impossible to do. It doesn't work with the technology, which means it would effectively ban the technology in the United States. So one, I don't think the offices understand that. Two, Elizabeth Warren has misled the Congress and the American people that this is an unregulated industry. We've met with offices and we told them that, are you aware that these cryptocurrency businesses, the places where you go and you buy and sell crypto, and like an exchange, like Coinbase, for example, are you aware that that is an entity that is already regulated as a money service business? They're registered with FinCEN, and they are already doing the type of reporting that banks do. And a lot of offices didn't know that either. It's because they were misled into thinking this is the Wild West. So a lot of people think, well, crypto is unregulated. That's not true either. There are laws that apply to cryptocurrency and cryptocurrency businesses. But what we want to protect is that individuals can still interact in a peer-to-peer way, because that's absolutely fundamental to the whole purpose of this technology. And we can't let the Congress take that away from us.
No, we cannot let that happen. And in fact, I will encourage everybody to go underneath of this video, as I've done the last couple videos, and click the link for Stop the Ban. You have a great name for it, Stop the Ban. Sign the petition, make a nice donation to the Chamber of Digital Commerce, and we're going to talk about some other ways you can contribute and participate as well to having your voice be heard in just a second. And, I also want to say quickly to the point you made about JP Morgan, a lot of people don't understand. JP Morgan is a gatekeeper, as you said, for payments, for especially global payments, right? So they are sitting, and when we say to the audience that they're a gatekeeper, they're not a gatekeeper for you and I. They're a gatekeeper for 99% of the other banks in the world. So it's important to understand that this king of the mountain is very scared of this innovation and technology. And it's quite clear that they're backing someone like Senator Elizabeth Warren to override what the people actually want and give them what they're paying for. And that is despicable. Okay, let's talk about this. It's Bitcoin spot or is it Bitcoin spot ETFs or is it spot Bitcoin ETFs? What's the right way to say that?
I say a spot Bitcoin ETF.
I say spot Bitcoin ETF too most of the time when I get it right. So let's talk about that, and let's talk about the excitement that is really building behind this thing, Perianne. That you're look, I saw a tweet, and I think you tweeted about where this price could go over the next several years. But let's talk about where it is today and get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I think it's important just to fully understand just the journey we've all been on
Yeah,
with the pursuit of bringing a regulated crypto product to market for retail.
yeah,
It's been 10 years. So the Winklevoss twins were the first to apply to bring a spot Bitcoin ETF to the market in 2013. That was denied. Since then, there's been, I think, 16 companies that have filed applications to bring a spot Bitcoin ETF to market, and they've all been denied. And it's been a 10-year history. In 2022, our team did a very deep dive into like why. We looked at every single application and rejection, and we documented exactly what happened. Like what was in the application, why was it denied, what did the SEC say, how did the industry respond, what did the next application look like, did they meet what they were told to do last time? Yes, they did. The SEC comes up with another excuse, and they keep moving the bar and they keep moving the goalpost of what is the requirements to bring a spot Bitcoin ETF to market. And so we documented in what ended up being a very damning report to the SEC how they were discriminating against cryptocurrency because they're holding it to a different standard than any commodity ETF that's currently in the market today, and that their actions, this discriminatory approach, is arbitrary and capricious, and it violates the law. And it turns out we were right. That report was won in a court of law. So the company Grayscale sued the SEC for not allowing them to bring a spot Bitcoin ETF to market. They went to court, they won. And now the SEC is forced to bring a spot Bitcoin ETF to market because the court system is making them. So we're getting one. We don't know the date. We're hearing January 8th. But we don't know. Nobody actually knows. And we don't know. I think there's 12 companies that are all pending to bring one of these products forward. So anyone could come forward. But the reason why a spot Bitcoin ETF is important is because this is a product. ETFs are very, very popular investment products, particularly for retail investors. And they allow greater transparency in the markets. They allow for greater price discovery. And because of the competitive nature, the cost, the fees around them, it helps bring the cost down of participating in the markets. So that's kind of one set. But the other set is if you're a retail investor and you want to invest in cryptocurrency today, you are not able to go to your broker dealer or to your financial advisors and ask them to help you like you do with all your other investments, because there are no regulated cryptocurrency products, at least of this nature, in the market today. So what has transpired over the past 10 years is people have had to leave their relationship with their financial advisor and then go navigate the crypto ecosystem totally on their own. And there are great companies out there. There are regulated companies, but it's a very different, nature where most people, they prefer to have their financial advisors like manage their portfolios for them. That hasn't been possible with cryptocurrency because of this arbitrary and capricious and discriminatory blockade. And so it really exposes the doublespeak that we're seeing out of Washington about crypto, where they're saying, well, cryptocurrencies aren't safe. There's illicit activity, that we need better consumer and investor protections before we're going to be comfortable, because the best way to provide investor protections for retail investors and investors of all types is to allow a regulated product to come to market, and they've prevented that. So that's why this is this is one of the reasons why this is getting so much news coverage, is because it has taken so long and it has been such a journey for the whole industry. And then once, these products are listed, it's going to open up the floodgates, because there's trillions of dollars that are managed by financial advisory firms, where they will now be able to help their clients invest in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. And there's going to be a whole new set of investors that are going to have access to cryptocurrencies for the first time. And that, I think this will be a game-changing market opportunity for our community.
Oh, I do too. This is, and the community beyond us, right? Like, as you said, people that wouldn't dare do the things that we do every day to buy the asset, open an account on exchanges, are now going to have the opportunity to invest through their own brokers for the first time in history of this asset class. It is a remarkable moment that we are in front of. There's no question. There's another remarkable moment we're in front of too, Perianne. It's XRP Las Vegas. So let's talk about that. That is a remarkable moment. May 3rd and 4th. It is going down in Las Vegas. And we are going to have so many incredible conversations. And by the way, these conversations are going to be developing and ongoing, because we're going to see a pretty busy Q1 as far as crypto regulation and policy and things of that nature go, according to Congress, right? So there's a lot for us to talk about in May, and I hope it's all good, to be honest with you. But let's talk about the fact that you'll be there, you're going to be on stage, and you're doing a fundraiser. And look, I want people to understand how important the work of what you're doing is, and how your nonprofit, and I want to highlight, Senator Warren just targeted another nonprofit association by basically accusing them of doing some kind of nefarious communications and
Revolving
support.
door. Yeah,
Yeah,
revolving door.
revolving door with terrorists, right? I mean, it's crazy. Or information about it or
Yeah,
whatever it
she
was.
came out and she attacked a couple nonprofits as well as Coinbase, and said, you guys employ lobbyists, used to work for the federal government, you have a revolving door pattern. But, that came out, I think, on Monday. It came out early this week. And
Yeah.
then our video came out right after that. It's like, okay, Elizabeth Warren's saying the industry has a revolving door problem. And then Senator Marshall says, well, actually our bill was written by a bank lobby. So it was like plot twist. So that was fun.
Yeah, plot twist is right. Yeah, so let's look. It would be even funnier if it wasn't someone with such power, right? I mean,
It's really not. It's not funny at all.
yeah,
It's sad. It's very sad for the state of our nation.
it is.
That's why I do what we do. I worked in government, and I worked in the media, and then I started the chamber in 2014. And I've been doing this for almost 10 years. We'll be celebrating our 10-year anniversary in July of next year.
Wow.
And I'm very dedicated and passionate about the promise and the potential of blockchain technology. I think this is going to have the potential to fix a lot of the systemic issues in our financial system and our monetary system for the good and for the better. And that change is going to be, I think, hard for for many, because there will be winners and losers during that transition. But the winners are going to be the people, and we fight for the people. We're with the individuals. We're with, the people like my mom and dad who, didn't inherit anything, worked full-time jobs, did the best they could, but inflation has really prevented them from being able to fully realize the fruits of their labor. And so many people are feeling that today. We have big problems in our monetary system and our financial system. And I truly believe this technology is going to improve that for the better. And that's why we do this out of a nonprofit. So I can't wait to be with you guys in Vegas. It's going to be a great time to celebrate. There's going to be a lot to celebrate. And we're going to be in the perfect place to really celebrate just the amazing things that we know are going to be happening over the next couple of months. Can't wait to continue these conversations at XRP Las Vegas. And then we're hosting a dinner Friday night. It'll be at Well, actually, we're not announcing the venue yet. Sorry, I almost like broke our own news there.
I
We'll
was like,
announce it.
wow, I thought I was getting ready to find something
We're
out.
working on a really fun venue for everyone to have dinner, but it'll be a private dinner. We're selling tickets to the dinner. All of the proceeds go to the Chamber of Digital Commerce's foundation. So we operate a C3, a 501c3. So it's fully tax deductible. I know we're up at the end of the year here, so if you're looking to, get the tax advantages of making donations to C3. This is, one great opportunity. Come to the event, and those resources are used to, to fight for you and to protect the digital asset industry in the United States.
Well, I think you guys, to wrap this thing, I think you guys are going to have some special guests that are pretty amazing. Brad Garlinghouse, correct? You're
Yeah,
going to have.
we have some amazing people coming to support us and to support the work. Brad will be there. Michael Arrington, who's the founder of TechCrunch, is going to be there as well. John Deaton, who's probably one of the most well-respected lawyers for the people of the crypto party. He really went to bat just for the users of our community in that Ripple versus SEC case and was very successful at that. We have Chris Giancarlo, aka Crypto Dad, is going to be there as well, and many others. So we appreciate everybody's support coming out and helping us fight for the future of the industry.
We really do appreciate their support. And I want to remind people that your support has been behind us the entire time, too. You helped write XRP's Not a Security with Chris Giancarlo in that legal firm, if my memory serves me correctly, didn't you not?
Well, we've been very involved with the case. That paper was written by Chris Giancarlo and his law firm, Wilkie, Farr, and Gallagher. That's their paper. We're not authored on the paper, but we certainly support the work that they did. Chris told me that was the most downloaded paper ever from that legal journal that it was published in. And he may be working on another piece. But I'll let him share his own news. But we've been very fortunate to have the former chairman of the CFTC come out and do the hard legal work to show how cryptocurrencies are not securities and ensuring that they don't get caught in, the churn of Washington's, special interest groups to ensure that we have, a flourishing community that, is best for the people, not necessarily other interests.
Yeah, how about that? Look, we're going to leave it right there, but obviously we'll get you back on as things develop to really inform the audience and what is going on, and more importantly, the actions they can take to really help support the cause. It's not enough to just go retweet something or make a post that you're upset. Take action. Click the link underneath the video. Go support the Chamber of Digital Commerce. Get on that petition because it really shows the volume and numbers to these other senators and congressmen alike to let them know that there is a real populace out here that they better start paying attention to if they want to stay in Congress at all.
Thanks so much, Brad.
Hey, thank you, Perianne. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you click the link underneath the video, and we'll catch you on the next one.